Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, Fox, and BTN is with us now, along with Kevin Brockway from CNHI Papers. Mr. Daggone it, what's the phrase? Bracket study?
Bracketologist?
Well, no, there was one that you prefer.
Bracket analyst.
Bracket analyst. That's it. Bracket analyst.
We thought it was bracket forecasting.
That's we label our bracket at Fox the bracket forecast. That's what we settled with. But the person who does it is
the analyst.
I prefer bracket analyst.
Makes perfect sense. One of the nation's leading bracket analysts, Mike DeCourcy. We talked about Indiana, that they're in right now to me, and
yes.
but I don't. My opinion means nothing. But I think that they're in, and losing to Rutgers at home would put them out, because I still think that they're on, even if they're on the top of the last four in, I think that they're still on that last four in line. Are they in the last four in? Or are they a little tighter than that?
They are
afford to lose to Rutgers?
No. Well, yeah, as I said, if they lose to Rutgers, all that means is that you have to go on the road and beat Purdue. Good luck. I mean, that's what it means.
Or win 3 games. I was talking about this last night, and I was having this very conversation with someone. I said, dude, if they lose to Rutgers, no one expects them to win at Purdue, and let's say they don't. I said, they're going to have to go 3 games deep into the Big Ten tournament and hope at that point that that's enough.
That'll probably be enough. I mean, you have to assume that, the teams that we're talking about are generally not successful teams. Oregon, SMU, Memphis, Carolina to an extent, Michigan. These are all teams that are gathered at the back, and you don't know. And then there are the teams that would be on the outside, that, teams like Loyola that kind of let it get away from them. Miami, I don't know what to do with Miami. Their resume is a nightmare, kind of like Rutgers, but with less oomph in it. I mean, Miami has done more to damage their own case than just about anybody. Because you lose at home to Virginia. Look, Tony Bennett's a tremendous coach, and they have some good players, but you can't lose at home to when you're trying to fight to get in. So there are a lot of different teams, a lot of moving parts, and you always have you can never. People want, what do we have to do to get in? Well, okay, that's a simple answer: win the conference tournament. But for other, the 8 teams or 10 teams, 12 teams that are all kind of scrambling for those last 4 to 6 spots, you have to win as many games as you can and hope that everybody else that's scrambling loses as many games as they can. Because it's not just about what you do, it's also about what they do.
Yeah, and let's not forget the conference tournaments. What if Murray State doesn't win the Ohio Valley? Then you've got what's called a bid stealer, and that happens a lot too. That's one less team on the bubble that gets in also.
I think there's less potential for that this year. It obviously exists, Murray State being an example. They can't keep them out this time. North Texas, I would say that North Texas would be an at-large for me as long as they made their conference final. You don't want to pull a Butler 2002. That's the one that Butler 2002 was tremendous. They had 25-5, had some good wins. It was the same team basically that had more or less that had made the tournament in 2001 and done so well. And they went out and they lost in the quarterfinals to Green Bay that year, which was, I think there were 8 teams in the Horizon League then, as hard as that is to believe now in the era of expansion. And so they were straight up 1 versus 8 and they lost. And I still thought they should have made it, but they didn't. And so you don't want to be one of those teams that would be in play for someone like North Texas. Don't think they'll do it, but I didn't think that Butler team would. And then the third team that is in play for a bid steal situation would be Davidson. Davidson is another team that I think at this point would be hard to keep out. And that's a realistic scenario because they've got Bonaventure, VCU, Dayton, those teams, Richmond. Those teams are all capable of winning the A-10 championship tournament and taking a bid. So there will be some of the teams that we're talking about. It's one of the reasons why there's no such thing as an automatic is that you don't know how many bids are available. You think there's 36, but there might not be, for the reason that Kev mentioned.
And then the bracket moving forward for the Big Ten, I noticed the thing that sticks out to me, how different this tournament is going to be. The Big Ten has 5 ranked teams. They're going to get their teams in. I think that they end up getting 8 in. The SEC, I'm not sure. But you look at the bottom, and the Ohio Valley Conference, the American, the WCC, and the ACC, all with 1 ranked team. That is something we'll probably I guess you can't say never, but I can't imagine the fact that the ACC has been so down. But how is that going to change this tournament? We're used to Duke and North Carolina and Virginia and them being such a deep conference in this tournament. That's not the case this year. I mean, to me, that opens it up not for other conference members as much as other teams that maybe haven't gotten a chance before. Or does it?
Yeah, I don't think it will. And again, part of it is because the achievement isn't there. I mean, Loyola was a team that was in that circumstance, but they have declined. I don't want to say self-destructive because they're still a successful team, but they have declined and plunged from a fairly safe spot to probably out of the question for an at-large. I think it's going to be hard for them to do that because the wins aren't available. The good wins aren't available in the league. And so I don't know whether they'd make it. I don't think it would be out of the question if they were to play in the conference championship and not win. I don't think it's out of the question they could get one, but I think they're very excludable based on past committee actions. And so I don't know that. I think those bids are going to be taken by the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC to an extent, Big East. They'll vacuum up those. And the other thing you have to remember is that the ACC is really only right now down to 4 to 5 bids, depending on how you feel about Miami. I mean, Carolina at this stage is still going to make it. If they'd lost to Syracuse last night, it might have hurt them to get in, but they pulled it out at the end. It was really not a good basketball game. Neither team played well. But in the end, Carolina got the win they need. Wake is still safely in. So they'll still get those 3, will all make it. Miami still might. So there'll still be an ACC flavor. It's just not going to last very long. Duke will be around more than likely, but I don't think the others are going to stay too long. Notre Dame being the other team that I didn't mention.
Yeah, I enjoyed your Roy Williams column yesterday, by the way, Mike. Pretty interesting that he went on a little gambling trip, a casino trip to Southern Indiana. How about that?
How about that? Yeah,
I pulled it up. I haven't gotten to read that yet, but man, that's amazing. Where did he go?
I didn't ask him which casino, but what happened was he was going to go. He has always acknowledged that he doesn't have a gambling problem, but he has an affection for going and standing around with his buddies and playing craps. He has for years. And back when we were really prudish about that stuff, there were a lot of sports writers who clucked about it. But I was never one. And that he was supposed to go to Vegas when Carolina played in the CBS Classic, the CBS Sports Classic in December. Ended up playing Kentucky. I think they're supposed to play Ohio State, if I remember right. I can't remember what the matchup was supposed to be, but Ohio State and UCLA both fouled out on COVID pauses, and so it ended up being Carolina versus Kentucky. But he couldn't go because his doctor said he'd had a knee replacement, and his doctor said 3 weeks after the knee replacement, too soon to travel like that and to stand around the craps table. And so he and his buddies rearranged, and they found the casino in Southern Indiana, and they went to the Louisville Carolina game instead. So that
answers the question for me.
And so that's he is enjoying his retirement, seeing all the little league games of his grandkids that he used to miss. His daughter's a dance teacher. He's now able to go watch their recitals and that sort of thing. So it's he's enjoying himself. He still goes to every game and tries to stay out of the way. And of course, Roy haters are still saying, yeah, but if he really cared, he wouldn't go to the games. It's like that's really nice. He's not supposed to go to the games because they might get caught on a camera shot, sitting watching the game and applauding from time to time.